Hello, ABA members. We are RegScale, the next-gen cyber GRC platform that is purpose-built to operationalize risk for the CISO. RegScale was designed specifically for organizations operating within the most heavily regulated industries, leveraging extreme automation to scale financial compliance. RegScale natively supports 60 industry-leading frameworks and regulations. Whether you are deeply focused on control configurations aligned to NIST 853 or are preparing for a regulatory exam using the CRI profile, RegScale status boards provide a centralized home base for detailed control management and testing. Driven by continuous controls monitoring, these views allow organizations to get in front of risk proactively by identifying control drift in areas of noncompliance before they become findings. At the control level, I'm presented with a clear side-by-side view of the control requirement in my organization or system-specific implementation, along with the supporting evidence and metadata needed to assess it. This makes it easier to answer the most critical question with confidence. Does my implementation actually satisfy the defined requirement? While I could spend 5 to 10 minutes performing the old stare and compare, I'd prefer to maximize my time by executing an AI-driven gap assessment, the results of which can be utilized to draft an updated statement or kick off a remediation workflow. Oh, and don't worry about reperforming this for the other relevant controls. You can utilize control mapping to inherit the work performed and reduce manual rework. Now that we have actioned this control gap, let's take a look at the impact within the broader context of the CRI readiness assessment. At a quick glance, it looks like we're in good shape. Out of 318 controls, 286 are compliant. Just to be sure though, let's run through a pre-audit check. While we can always project manage a traditional audit via scoping, scheduling, and coordinating resources, AI offers a faster, more efficient alternative. In seconds, RegScale uses AI to run completeness and quality checks across all in-scope controls, eliminating hours of manual review. Instead of working through controls one by one, I can immediately focus in on high-risk gaps, clearly see which requirements aren't being met, and generate targeted remediation plans. The result is less strain on teams, more consistent audit outcomes, and a scalable approach that frees resources to focus on higher-value risk management activities. Speaking of risk, RegScale has revolutionized the traditional, painful process of performing an RCSA, doing away with buffering spreadsheets and introducing the concept of continuous risk monitoring. Define your risk register, map mitigating controls, and monitor. Any changes to the control's implementation status or most recent assessment result will dynamically lower or raise the residual risk rating. That's all the time we have for today. Scan the QR code to learn more about how compliance can move at the speed of your business.
Thank you to RegScale for that great demo. I'm Stephanie Ascari with the ABA Partner Network, and I'm joined by Eric Erston with RegScale to share a bit more context for our bankers. Eric, please share with our audience what key pain points does your solution help banks solve, and why is that important for them to address right now?
Hi, Stephanie. Thank you. In a nutshell, we're here to help provide a lower cost and faster way to achieve regulatory confidence. Why that's important now is because the global regulatory landscape continues to put more requirements from both federal, state, and international regulators onto banks, and those requirements are not met with additional staff and additional budget. So we have to figure out how to do more with less. One of the things that RegScale does for organizations is find a way to bring those requirements together by a trusted source, which is the Cyber Risk Institute's CRI profile. The reason that profile is so powerful is it brings together the mappings of regulatory requirements and then ties that to a technical framework like NIST 853, which then gives the bank the ability to assess once and leverage many. The reason that that is so appealing is that even though there's overlap in intent across all of the different regulatory requirements, the specific requirements differ enough that organizations have to address each individually. So without something like the CRI profile, there's no way to assess once, leverage many. Secondarily, another challenge that banks face is the timeliness of information. And by timeliness, I mean, how fresh is our control information? If we're only uncovering control gaps during the time of an audit or an exam, That means that there's a long lag between assessment periods, which means our controlled data can be way out of date. RegScale addresses this by providing a continuous controls monitoring capability so that controls are continuously being monitored, and the status can then be reported on in real time, and organizations can stay fresh and current and have the confidence that they're meeting the regulatory requirements because CRI is that regulatory approved cross-mapping framework, but the organization's control information is current because the RegScale platform is monitoring those controls continuously. The third thing that RegScale does for organizations is future-proof the control capabilities. So as opposed to point-in-time assessments, RegScale takes a automated compliance as code-driven approach that leverages AI to automate the data collection and the evidence assessment of control information, and then feed that back to powerful dashboards and workflow so that assessments are done in an efficient way and exams, you're always ready for an exam, as opposed to the manual hurry up and prepare and then get stuck in the hamster wheel waiting for that next exam.
Thank you. One final question for you. Who within the bank would you say your primary target audience is?
Typically, we're working with the Office of the Chief Information Security Officer or somewhere in the Information Assurance Group, which may fall underneath the Chief Risk Officer. But between these two groups, this is a technology problem, and it is solved by bringing together a platform that provides continuous controls monitoring and gets organizations out of the mad scramble that is a sort of look back and audit driven approach, and gets you into a more proactive continuous monitoring approach. So RegScale platform is owned by the Chief Information Security Group most often.
Thank you so much, Eric. This was Eric Erston with RegScale, and thank you again for the demo and for being part of the ABA Partner Network Virtual Game Changers.